to install our lower fairing adapters. With the kit, you'll get the lower fairing adapters, you'll get the lower fairing harness, grill kit, spacer kit, and speakers. With the spacers, you'll get a 1/2-inch spacer, 6mm spacer, and a tour pack spacer. With the grill kit, you'll receive self-tapping screws. You got some deeper ones and some shorter ones. Depending on your layout, you may need the longer ones, so those are included. The machine screws and the U-nuts are tour pack use and will not be used in this part of the installation. Install the wires, and before we do that, we're going to take off this little screw and then pop this piece forward. I'm going to run the wires in, but before we do that, let's pause the video, slide on over, and I'll show you, explain the wire here. So this is our lower fairing harness. Let's get that unraveled. This is the brake side, the clutch side of the speaker terminals. This is where our hand hooks up. And this quick disconnect here tucks inside the frame. It's designed to be taken apart when lower fairings are removed without removing wires for service reasons. And slide back over, unpause it, and let's get this wire in. And slide this up to the front. And what we're going to do here is we're going to slide that brake side over. We're going to tuck those quick disconnects up into the frame there. It helps prevent from moisture damage, and it looks nice up there. And see there, we're going to run a zip tie around the engine mount bracket there. And get that nice and tucked up there, and then tighten it down. Cut the zip tie off, and then we're going to zip tie up here. Just put it all together and go as far back against that wire tray as you can. So when the gas tank sits on there, you won't see it. Just get one more zip tie on here and push that piece back on. Now I did it off frame, but put that little screw back in there that we removed to get the wires in. So here, when we put it on the crash bar, see how we loop it down? And then let's get the lower fairing off. Remove this nut. In this situation, it's a bolt. This is a aftermarket, and that's a 10mm. It's either 10mm or 7/16. If it's a factory one, it's going to be 7/16, but in this situation, it's 10mm. And get that little U-clamp off of there. And get these bolts out. Now these screws are machined. We're not going to reuse them. In this aftermarket one, it's going to be a 3mm T25 Torx if it's a factory one. Let's remove this vent piece and then pop off the lower fairing cover. And there's our adapter. We're just going to put that on there. Now you got to be kind of a contortionist to get this on sometimes, but we're going to connect this part to that vent piece there. Once you get that on, slide it on in, and it's a tight fit, but you'll see it fits in there nice and snug. Make sure the holes all line up, everything kind of tucks nice. Reach around on the back side, grab your high-low screws from the kit that was sent to you, and we're going to screw here first, and then here, and then here. And just get them started. Start with the middle one first. On the right side, started. And the same thing with that inside one. Change the camera angle. And get that started. Now tighten them all down. Now do not go too tight. So we're going to go to a side view here. And you'll see there's a little gap there. You just want that gap to be nice and snug. You don't want it to be over tight. You can pull that inside that outer fairing part. Let's get it tightened down. So we're going to drill here for the wires. We're going to drill here for the wires. It's the same spot, but we drill from the inside. Let's use a 1/2-inch step drill bit with an extension. And you're going to want to drill kind of angled upwards. And I'm going to flip it around here. See how it's angled up so you don't hit the paint on the lower fairing there. Let's clean this up with a vacuum. We're going to put our U-clamp in here. Let's flip it around so you can see what I'm doing. Just get these started. Don't tighten it down yet. So this is a little trick I learned. It makes it a whole lot easier. Is put the outer shell piece on, hold it in place, and then tighten it down. This gauges it so you don't have to mess with it. Let's get the wires in. You can get that cut. And see that little nip? Goes in that little slot and then pops right on. Don't use a drill to tighten this down. Just use a wrench. Those are known to break the little nuts inside there. So I use an 1/8 inch drill bit to pre-tap the screw holes for the speakers. And we're going to test the spacers for fitment. Now I'm not going to need any spacers in this particular video, but there are some speakers that are too deep, or you have a different design of the lower fairing that makes it necessary to use a spacer. So these three options, one of those three options should work for you. Let's get the speakers on. Remember, small is positive, large is negative. Get the screw started on the speaker. And that's about it, guys. We're going to jump over to the right side. So right side time lapse, run that speaker wire around behind that cable so it looks nicer. You see how I zip tied to the bottom of the crash bar? It's less exposed. Get these pieces all off, just like same process as on the other side. Now the air cleaner of the bike might get in your way. You may have to pop that off. Didn't have to in this particular situation. Now I had a little struggle on this one, so I actually took it off the bike and had to put it up on a cart and address it. There was something out of whack on there, but now I got it fixed and pre-drill my holes. And you see I got a 90-degree drill adapter that's really handy to use, especially on this side.